Nasdaq had yet another good week last week, up 1.43%, ending the week at 16,156 points. And in the $1,000 challenge, we have passed $3,000. So far, I've been growing $1,000 to $3,109.53. We are getting very close to the second double at 4,000. What about that? In the end of the podcast. We are heading into week 19. You are listening to the StockInvest.us podcast Trading Tips with Jim. Last week's podcast had bad audio. I'm very sorry about that. I was using a table held microphone and background sounds echo. The reverb was way too high. Hopefully this one will be a little bit better. Last week I thought it would be a green week, but not by as much. Actually, I'm a little bit surprised that Nasdaq is pushing as much as it does, but it was mainly due to good results in some of the major companies, good quarter results. And we are getting to the end, again, to the end of the most heavy quarter season. About 80% of the companies at S&P 500 have released their numbers, and Nasdaq is also catching up. But there will be some good quarter results coming out this week. Tomorrow, for instance, will be the woke company Disney. I will see if Disney, as they move away from woke into business again, will increase their numbers, which may lead to a good buying opportunity for the future. We'll just have to wait and see. It's a lot about politics lately determining who will be winners in the future. The task ahead is very simple. I will try to tell you what I think will happen in the week ahead of us. At the end of the podcast, we will get to the $1,000 challenge where I tell you which stock I'm buying. We are following it. And as I just said, we have so far tripled the money. The $1,000 challenge is currently at $3,109. Forgot to mention that Dow Jones also had a good week, was up by 1.14%, ending the week at 38,675 points. Last week I argued that the buy and sell signals, they are getting high, but they were not as high where they start to become threatening. If we look at the buy and sell signals now, they are getting higher. And before revealing the numbers, just let me give you a background if you're a new listener or you have forgotten. At StockInvest.us, we analyze more or less all the tickers around the world, all the companies, stock companies, etc. around the world. We rank them, we give them a buy, sell, or hold, and we give them a score. And based on this, we can tell how many stocks are currently having a buy signals. We do know, and this is just pure statistics, if there is a logic, psychology, if there is too many buy signals, we get way too optimistic and you can expect a correction down. Now, if we look at all the stocks, and they have to be qualified, meaning that they have to have some sort of trades, some sort of volume. So for this analysis, it will be somewhere around 27,000 companies. 33% of them are giving buy signals. That is starting to become on the upper end, but again, we are talking very, very globally. Now let's move down to the markets. If we go to Nasdaq, we know that last week Nasdaq had 19% buy signals. As I said, it was still low. Currently sitting at 31, so a huge jump over last week. Many Nasdaq companies were doing very well in last week's trading. Currently sitting at 31, starting to become a little high. New York Stock Exchange went up from 27 to 39, and here comes the first warning sign, because if we look at London, we can also see that they went from 34 to 43. So we already start to have some of these major indexes coming up at levels where they will turn. Frankfurt 35, Tokyo up from 27 to 31, Shenzhen, China from 24 to 30. So all companies across the world more or less had a good week last week in average. We talk in average because some, of course, fell. But in general, it wasn't high optimism. We are getting to the part where things starts to become, in my opinion, ready for a correction, but still not there. Because that ultimate level is usually, and we know this from before, is usually way up in the 40s. Then it starts to become really problematic. And I never missed on these numbers when I told you the markets are way too high. I might be missing on 1 week, but there has been a following correction down. We are currently building up to that scenario. But if we get a plain week, meaning a week without too much movements, numbers can stabilize and we can continue within a general uptrend. Currently, Nasdaq is just reacting up from a bottom. It's a total natural reaction. Now we are in that massive resistance belt, but Nasdaq was pushed by good quarter results. You heard it 3 weeks ago, saying exactly this might be the scenario. And last week, for instance, was job numbers coming in, and job numbers were on the weaker end. Unemployment rate raised a little bit, and market loved it because that opens up for not so high pressure in the economy and the inflation, which we've been speaking about way too long. Now you will read a lot of news in wherever you are, whatever source you use. You will read a lot of news about inflation is under control, everything is going okay, but don't be too sure about this. I saw a short YouTube video from a Jew explaining what happened in Germany so many years ago, and he said something very interesting. So Germany was punished after World War I. They were having to pay huge amount of money to France, England, etc. for what happened in World War I. And that brought the country into the depression. But it was slowly building up. But then was hit somewhere around 1922 or 23, hit by super inflation. And the question was like, what caused that super inflation? The reason was influx of money and not enough product. It was overstimulating, causing inflation. The buying power among the population, the general buying power, was not very good, and suddenly there is influx of money causing high buying pressure, and people lost all their savings because inflation rampaged so much that just during a week inflation ate up all the savings they had been saving for the last decade or so. We see in this case in many countries, especially socialist countries, left countries, trying to do these things, where things go totally wrong and inflation is just eating up everything. But the main point about this story is influx of money, and there seems to be no easing in money printing in United States. And when asked this question, the biggest of them all, he couldn't simply answer why all the money printing. He just gave a vague answer that US cannot go bankrupt. So that is a question we can discuss widely, because the thing is that US can print up a lot of dollars, and the dollar will be bought up either by foreign countries or internally, because US is a superpower. But can this really continue endlessly, or will you have a huge influx of money where the production is not high enough? And production, you have to remember that you have inland production, and then you have outland production, import export. So whatever we import into our country is limited by the supply from the external countries. Get into a little trading war with China, suddenly there will be a huge disruption of products. We saw how COVID did this and why I told you there would be an inflation. And I will give you the first warning, because I think it is fair, it's reasonable, and it is absolutely tradable. I've stated before that inflation would go much higher than anyone thought. I was disagreeing with Yellen when she said it was transitory. I said it was pure bullshit. Inflation would come up, it will go up, and when everyone said interest rates would go up, I said interest rates would go up. I've been right so far, maybe just lucky, but we are not done with inflation. But you will read all over that inflation will be okay, but over the last few months inflation proven very resistant, and given the situation in the world where we still have not resolved the Ukraine conflict, we have the Middle East conflict, we see how US slightly is getting divided in the Israel-Palestine question, meaning that politics will change, and we already saw that. We know that weapon supplies to Israel has been held back for more than a week. Things can again get to that place where there will be disruptions, and printing that kind of money will just keep up the inflation. Enough about that. The point is that for the long-term trend, I expect inflation to go up. That will be hard on the market. It will be good for gold, in my opinion, and gold is sitting at $2,325, moving down $24 from last week, but staying stubborn above 2,300. And lucky me, I bought gold at 1,600, and I advised all of you to do the same, as I saw gold as a safe haven. Gold will continue upwards, I'm pretty sure about that. And while mentioning this, and you have to remember, so yes, you might be wrong for a little period. We are talking long-term trends. Crypto, I think there is more upside in crypto than in stock market right now. I said that before. Oil at 79, not going anywhere soon, and we know that US has to start to refill their strategic reserves because Biden has been emptying them, not managing what he was supposed to do to put gasoline back to the 2020 prices. Have reduced them a little bit, but on the cost of almost emptying the strategic reserves. These will have to be refilled somehow, and all of that will just push pressure on the oil price. We know oil is connected to inflation. Energy is mentioned many times before. 10-year treasury, on measuring what the professionals believe about interest rates, actually went a little bit down last week, currently sitting at 4.5, but we heard that before. Oh no, it will go down. Also 10-year treasury and the interest rates will go up. It will not disappear. I feel I'm doing a lot of commercial here for the podcast, but you heard me saying that they said interest rates will start to go down from March, and later there will be 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 cuts in during the year, and you heard me say that I don't think it will happen. And so far the consensus is that there will not be any cuts this year. But Fed said they don't think it will increase. Changes in position. How does we make this tradable? Well, I mentioned that gold is an opportunity. I think that crypto will have more upside. And you should again get back to inflation resistance stock. If I'm correct, I think that markets soon will have to have a natural correction. That will open up for a unique buying opportunity. So if I were you, I would make sure that I'm not too fully invested into the market, but have a buffer which I really can use when the good solid buying opportunities come. Because I think we will be in for a bumpy ride as we move forward. Now I'm talking more than the week ahead of us. I'm talking the long-term trends and the tradable actions that I think will be there. By the way, talking about how all this affect, and I told you that we will start to see some effect on the companies, because you can only offset prices to a certain extent on customers. Anyone following Starbucks knows that Starbucks took a real hit. Coffee is simply getting too expensive, and the users are walking away from Starbucks. Starbucks complained about the users, their customer, and said the customer was wrong. It was nothing wrong with their prices. But you have just reached a level where you will skip your Starbucks and go for a cheaper alternative. This will happen to more companies than Starbucks. If you are in the shorting game, could be that you should look onto these who are most exposure to the end consumers. that will take these hits, because companies can only offset increase in prices at a certain amount. Then they will start to reduce the quality, and after that there is no other way than taking the hammer. So that is exactly what we see. So far, quarter results are coming in a little bit above expectations, but they are again reducing for next quarter. Coming back to the buy and sell signals, getting to the conclusion about the week ahead of us, we made a long journey around talking about different things and future trend for the week ahead of us. The buy signals are still not high enough to be a real threat. There are some momentum in the market. There are some quarter results coming up that can push the index in general. And just let's quickly go through some of them. This week will be Palantir today, interesting company there. Getting a lot from AI and all of these things. Then it will be Lucid, very interesting for those following EV. And NEO been doing very good lately, still far down, but as I said, I think EV is a good buying position, and I have been slightly buying up, just like I told you in the podcast, because I think there is a general opportunity going further. Tuesday we have Disney, we have Lyft. Lyft will also give an idea about the consumer expenditures, how consumers react to price increases, etc. Very interesting will be Reddit, that will come with the first quarter results. I do not expect very much, to be honest. Then we have Twilio and TripAdvisor, Datalog, Celsius, and Rivian, another company in the car auto industry. Electric Arts will also be interesting for those following gaming. Gaming has a huge potential and continue to do good in the future. I'm pretty sure about that. Uber continues on Wednesday, so we had Lyft on Tuesday, then Uber on Wednesday. Airbnb. In general, I think that you will see also Airbnb, all these companies, I think that you will start to see the slight decrease in usage and income. New York Times, not so very interesting there. Robinhood, more interesting. You have Bumble and Cheesecake Factory, interesting on Wednesday, this is. But more so AMC and Beyond Meat. Both of these are interesting cases, will probably move a lot. Remember, at stockinvest.us you can type in the ticker, you will see what we expect the movement will be, either plus or minus. Tuesday coming up with another gaming company, Roblox, while Warner Bros. Discovery also will be. Papa John's Pizza, again a company I would watch that one, like with Starbucks, see how they are doing, because we will see how end consumers behave. The behavior, you first start to cut the luxury things, then you go deeper down. With this knowledge, everything is tradable. Absolutely Yelp. Finishing on Friday with nothing really special. One company that I will follow for sure, because I have a small position, is Hawaiian Electric, which was hammered long time ago with the big wildfires. No real big economy data coming out. Summarizing everything, getting ready to move to the $1,000 challenge, and tell you more about the triple that we already have. Here is what I think will be the end result for the week. I believe markets will move sideways, up and down, struggling a little bit with the tendency of moving down by the end of the week. Putting a guess, red or green, it's a little bit hard to say, but slightly where we are heading towards a red week. Part of me says that you should just be optimistic, because the numbers are on the way up and they are still not overbought. But I think that it might just be a moderate week. Hopefully I'm wrong, that the market will just push hard upwards. In the universe, with 5,000 stocks at Nasdaq, whatever it is, and additional in New York Stock Exchange, etc., how to find which stocks to buy. I've given you a lot of or at least I try to give you some background information, how I think, what I think that will happen, what are the things. I gave you a lot of things about end consumers, how they will behave, and what you can expect for stocks. My best advice is think about trends, think about what is most likely. Try to read up on these kind of news. That will give you an idea where to put the money. War industry will be good. The warmongers are still in position, and that means that they will just keep hammering in money. Other than that, actual tip, not down to ticker level, but where should you be? I think IT in general will start to see some cracks. I'm not sure IT is the best place to be. I tend to go a little bit towards green technology again. And the argument for this is that governments are still pushing money into green industry, and these are catching up. So I think quarter results from green companies will do a little bit better than other companies because they get so much subsidies, either directly or indirectly. It's just how you look at it. Money are being pushed that way, and especially important for the Biden administration, which have failed so far in their attempts to make up to their promise about the new Green Deal and all of these things. But green being very much hammered. Everything has been about AI and tech. That's been the focus. I think green tech now will have the future. So if I was you and I was looking for stocks to pick, I would probably look to have maybe one or two options into the green tech industry. Problems with the NIO, Rivian and all of this is that they have already gone quite much. But look at the chart in the long term. Remember, NIO was about $60, currently trading around $5+. You will just have to decide that. But there is much more to green tech than NIO and Tesla. Anyway, 22 minutes into the podcast. I promised myself before starting this podcast to make it a shorter one, just a quick background. So every Monday I put up the green screen behind me. I put up a microphone, try to prepare some content, while most of my thoughts already are somewhere else in all the other things that I do. But I've been doing this now we are on the 5th year, and I know many of you have good help in this podcast. If you're a new listener, you like what you have heard so far, please like the video if you're listening to YouTube, and subscribe, of course, so you'll get all the new podcasts. As we move forward, I will be planning a week in Malaga for a short holiday. So next Monday, I'm not sure if I will be able to make the podcast. $1,000 challenge. You have been waiting patiently. So what is happening in the $1,000 challenge? Well, as I told you, I had Snap last week. We bought Snap 2 weeks ago. $10.99 was my entry price. I put on a stop loss. Stop loss is still holding because I think that we could see something like we saw in Meta. And Snap just continued upward last week. Currently sitting at $16.25, 47.86% profit. Putting the $1,000 challenge at $3,109.53. I feel it's been a long ride. We started after summertime last time, so we are behind all my schedules. I was hoping to do this way faster because we are already in May, and getting some 3-4 months ahead, and we will already be 1 year into the challenge. I was hoping to do this faster, but there you go. I'm still extremely happy about 3,000. Now things are starting to get easier because we have more money, and I'm soon ready to split out into 2. But I didn't sell Snapchat last week. It was not cut by stop loss, still is, but I will tighten the stop loss as I believe we are getting to maybe the top of Snapchat. Snapchat is still in the $1,000 challenge, but I have strong beliefs that it will be cut now. So you may ask the obvious question, so why don't you say now? You said that you think it will be a rushy week, Jim, and you think it will be up and down with a slight chance of getting red by the end of the week. So why don't you sell Snapchat? Just sell it now at 16.25 or whatever it opens up. Take the profit. Well, you have to understand that it's not me deciding, market decides. And if I am wrong, now let's assume that I am wrong. Snapchat continues upwards, I will lose profit. If I am right that Snapchat will go down, I have a stop loss. It will go down to the stop loss. So yes, I loses the percentage I put on stop loss. Currently is 5%, but I will tune that one a little bit now because we are getting close to where I think we are topping up. So I will lose that, but still there is a question, what is the most likely scenario moving forward? If I was dead certain that now Snapchat will go down, I would sell. But I cannot sit and say that investors will not push Snap. You have to understand that Snapchat turned on good numbers. Nobody can say that $17 will be the right price or 15 will be the right price, because only the market decides. And now you will see these who bought Snapchat, big investors and institutions, they will push a lot news about Snapchat. And you heard I said all these things about how TikTok and getting users from TikTok. You will see a lot of articles about these things, which can push the stock price even further. I would not be surprised if getting here next week Snapchat is $20, $22. Would not surprise me at all. But honestly, I'm not sure that will happen. No matter what, I take the gamble. I'm not taking the gamble of selling now. I'm taking the position where I just use a trailing stop loss. Stock goes up, stop loss moves up. Yes, I might end a little bit, but remember, 47.86% profit. No matter what happens, it has to be something explosive causing Snapchat to open drastically under for a stop loss not to be cut. Other than that, I will rake in a super profit. Currently sitting in Snapchat, which means that you will have to wait till next week to know which stock I will enter into. But I will give you a little insight into what I currently plan. I see all stocks getting very high. Many stocks had natural reactions up. I think market will have a natural correction down. I will be looking for quick in and out where I will use oversold again. Snapchat was oversold, was a good reason to buy Snapchat along with a few other things. But we will get into more again as we move forward. It again will focus more on oversold. I expect, to be honest, that positions will move much faster. If I'll go to if Snapchat moves very good this week, we might go into 2 stocks next week. If Snapchat doesn't move very good, I might hold 1. The thing about 1 is it's harder to grow 2 stocks than 1. But at some point when we start to make a lot of money in these things, we want to be a little bit secure, because let's say that we make this up to $10,000, 10% will be $1,000 that we started with. So the penalty of being wrong is much harder. The risk, the personal risk, because it was not a huge risk for me. It was absolutely no risk starting with $1,000. Nothing more than any stock I have move up in just a few minutes per day. So it was up or down during the minutes. So it was absolutely no personal risk for me. But still, I want to do this the way that you can follow. It was how I started my trading career so many years back. 29 minutes. Probably I talk too much yabberage. I will end this podcast telling you that during last week I was able to go sometimes even after work, just before getting dark, for metal detecting, and I was very lucky to find a lot of nice things. They are fixing the road between 2 big cities, 2 very old cities, Vilnius and Nemenčina here in Lithuania. And doing so, they are scraping off layers across the land to make double road instead of single road. And going there after work ended with the metal detector provided quite many nice coins. I might even post a few of them in this podcast. If not, I promise to do it in the next 30 minutes. Perfectly happy. Hope you are happy. I hope you will have the best week you had in a very long time. I hope you will be back next week. Until then, just have a beautiful week. Bye.
Welcome to StockInvest.us Stock Analysis. We remind you that trading involves a high risk of losing money, and that you should speak with a financial advisor before buying or selling any securities. You should not base your investment decision upon StockInvest.us. By using the information you agree and are held liable for your own investment decisions.